If you've ever walked past a crumbling mound of dirt and thought nothing of it, you've already missed the first clue. Right now, termites and ants are hauling up fragments of the Earth's deepest secrets, sometimes carrying diamonds to the surface while everyone else just steps over them. So if you want to know how to follow a bug trail straight to hidden fortune, stay with me, because this is the trade secret most prospectors will never share. Professional gem hunters know something you don't. The world's richest diamond mines weren't found by luck or by brute force, but by reading the landscape for signs that most people ignore. Some of these clues are rarer than the diamonds themselves, and they're hiding in plain sight. Camouflaged as nothing more than a pile of dirt, a trail of insects, or a patch of ground that just feels a little different under your boots. By the end of this video, you'll never look at a creek bed, a savanna, or even your own backyard the same way again. The difference between a worthless rock and a fortune is just knowledge. And today, you're about to see the world through the eyes of a veteran prospector. Let's start with the first secret most people miss: the termite mound. To the untrained eye, it is just a weathered, sun-baked tower, dull, cracked, and blending into the landscape like industrial waste. But inside, termites work around the clock, excavating soil from as deep as 30 meters below the surface. And here is the hidden treasure. Every grain of dirt they bring up is a sample from the deep earth, sometimes laced with kimberlite, the volcanic rock that carries diamonds from the mantle to the surface. The science is simple, but thrilling. Kimberlite pipes are the only natural elevators for diamonds, and they are often buried under thick layers of sand or clay, invisible to the naked eye. But termites, especially macroterms in Africa, are nature's own geologists. Their mounds can contain fragments of kimberlite, ilmenite, garnet, and chromite, minerals that are the unmistakable fingerprints of diamond-bearing pipes. If you want to identify the right mound, look for the tallest, most intact structures in a cluster, cathedral or conical shapes, hard as concrete, sometimes rising over 5 meters. Break off a piece and sift through the debris with a hand lens. If you spot deep red garnets or black metallic grains, you are standing on a natural sampling station that could be worth millions. In Botswana, Jwaneng was discovered in part because a geologist found ilmenite in a termite mound, right where 100 meters of sand hid the kimberlite pipe below. That is not just luck, that is reading the Earth's secret language. Jwaneng produces millions of carats annually, with rough stones fetching anywhere from $1,375 to over $10,000 per carat, depending on quality. This is what nature hides from the impatient. But if you think all termite mounds are created equal, you are about to be surprised. In the arid heart of Australia, the mounds look smaller, almost insignificant, dome-shaped, barely knee-high, scattered across the red desert like forgotten anthills. Yet inside, Tumulitermes tumuli termites are quietly rewriting the rules of prospecting. These insects do not just bring up soil, they sample the bedrock for you, carrying indicator minerals from as deep as 20 meters. The geology here is a story of ancient volcanic eruptions, kimberlite and lamproite pipes that punched through the crust, leaving behind a trail of diamonds and their mineral companions. The trick is in the identification. Australian termite mounds are often less dramatic, but their debris can be sieved and panned just like river gravels. Look for bright green diopside, deep red garnet, and black ilmenite grains. CSIRO, Australia's top scientific agency, proved that even these modest mounds can pinpoint buried ore bodies with uncanny accuracy. And while the Argyle mine, once the world's largest diamond producer, was not found by termites alone, the principle is the same. Nature's engineers do the heavy lifting, you just have to know where to look. Stones from Argyle, even in rough form, have sold for thousands per carat, especially the rare pinks. This is the lesson. Sometimes the smallest clues lead to the biggest fortunes. And while termites are the headline act, don't overlook the humble ant. In the American West, especially the Green River Basin of Utah and Wyoming, prospectors have long known the secret of the anthill garnet. To most, these mounds look like nothing, just loose piles of sand, scattered with pebbles and the detritus of insect life. But harvester ants are relentless collectors, hauling up pyrope garnets, deep red, glassy, and unmistakable, straight from the kimberlite pipes below. The science is as elegant as it is simple. Ants don't dig as deep as termites, but they're efficient surface samplers, and their mounds can be a treasure trove of indicator minerals. If you want to try this yourself, find a harvester ant mound in a known kimberlite region, scoop up the top layer, and pan it like you would for gold. Look for the telltale flash of red or green, pyrope garnet, or chromium diopside. These are the breadcrumbs that lead to diamonds. While no major American diamond mine has been discovered solely by following ant trails, the method has narrowed down exploration targets and led to the discovery of diamondiferous pipes in Colorado, Arkansas, and Canada's Northwest Territories. The value, even a handful of gem-quality garnets, can fetch hundreds of dollars, but the real prize is the pipe itself, potentially worth millions if it proves diamondiferous. This is the paradox. The smallest creatures can point the way to the greatest treasures. So, before we go further, let me give you the prospector's edge. If you want more locations, more trade secrets, and the kind of insider knowledge that turns a casual walk into a treasure hunt, subscribe now, because the next clue could be the one that changes your life. Now, let's get back to the trail. Not all mounds are created equal, and not all insects are reliable guides. The real professionals know to look for specific species: macroterms in Africa, Tumulitermis in Australia, and harvester ants in North America. Each has its own behavioral patterns, habitat preferences, and geological sweet spots. Macroterms build the tallest, most durable mounds, often in open savannas and woodlands, where the soil is well drained and the underlying geology is just right for kimberlite pipes. Their workers excavate from incredible depths, sometimes over 10 meters, and their mounds can persist for decades, acting as long-term geochemical recorders. Odontotherms, another African genus, builds less conspicuous mounds, but is just as effective at sampling the regolith above buried pipes. In Australia, Tumulitermis prefers well-drained soils and a diet of decaying plant material, but their mounds are still rich in indicator minerals. And in North America, harvester ants are the go-to species for surface sampling, especially in arid and semi-arid regions where traditional prospecting is tough. The key is to match the insect to the geology. Termites for deep, covered pipes, and ants for surface indicators in exposed terrains. This is the protocol. Identify the right mound, sample the debris, and analyze for indicator minerals. If you find pyrope garnet, chromium diopside, ilmenite, or chromite, you are on the right track. And remember, the biggest fortunes are often hidden in the most unremarkable places. But what about the science? Why do these insects lead us to diamonds in the first place? The answer lies in the deep time processes that shape our planet. Diamonds form under crushing pressures and searing heat, 150 to 450 kilometers below the surface. Only explosive volcanic eruptions, kimberlite and lamproite pipes, can bring them up fast enough to survive. These pipes are filled with a cocktail of minerals, magnesium-rich, potassium-laced, and loaded with rare earth elements. As they weather, they release indicator minerals into the soil, creating a geochemical halo that is invisible to most, but not to termites and ants. These insects are drawn to the altered soils above kimberlite pipes because they are richer in nutrients, more alkaline, and better at retaining moisture. For a termite, that means a perfect home, and for a prospector, it means a natural sampling station. The insects do not seek out diamonds. But their search for the best nesting conditions brings up the very clues we need. It is a biological geological feedback loop. The Earth creates the conditions, the insects do the sampling, and the observant human reaps the reward. This is the hidden order beneath the chaos of the wild. Now, let's get practical. How do you identify a diamond indicating mound in the field? Start with the basics. Look for large, well-formed termite mounds and clusters, especially in open savannas or woodlands. The tallest mounds are best. They sample from the greatest depth. Use a rock hammer to break off a section of the outer wall and collect about 1 kilogram of material. At a nearby water source, sieve the debris through a fine mesh to concentrate the heavy minerals. With a hand lens, search for deep red garnets, bright green diopside, black metallic ilmenite, and glassy green olivine. Test for magnetism with a strong magnet. Ilmenite and magnetite will stick. Use a streak plate to check the color. Pyrope garnet leaves a pale streak. Chromite a brownish-black streak. For kimberlite fragments, look for bluish-green to gray, greasy-feeling rocks with embedded crystals. Weathered kimberlite turns yellowish-brown and feels soapy to the touch. If you are in ant country, scoop the top layer of an ant mound and pan it for garnets and chromite. Always record your GPS coordinates and sample details. Prospecting is a science, not a guessing game. And don't forget safety. Wear gloves, long sleeves, and boots. Some termites and ants can bite or sting, and you do not want to inhale dust from dry mounds. Respect the environment. Take only what you need and let the insects rebuild. Let's talk value. As of January 2026, rough diamonds sell for anywhere from $1,375 to $10,015 per carat, with an average around $4,255. Polished stones can fetch $4,360 to over $20,000 per carat, depending on color and clarity. But remember, rough stones lose 40 to 60% of their weight during cutting, so a 5-carat rough might yield a 2.5-carat polished gem. Retail prices are much higher than what you will get at the mine gate. Expect 30 to 60% of retail when selling raw stones. Even a handful of gem-quality garnets or indicator minerals can be worth hundreds, but the real prize is the pipe itself, a discovery that can change your life, as it did for the prospectors in Botswana and Australia. Now, let's raise the stakes. The crown jewel of this story is the Jwaneng mine in Botswana, a place where the world's richest diamonds lay hidden under 100 meters of sand, invisible to every prospector who relied on old maps and guesswork. But a single termite mound changed everything. In the late 20th century, a De Beers geologist noticed ilmenite grains in a mound built by Macroterms termites. That tiny clue led to systematic sampling, revealing a kimberlite pipe that would become the most valuable diamond mine on Earth. Today, Jwaneng produces millions of carats annually, with stones that have graced royal crowns and private collections alike. The economic impact is staggering. It amounts to billions of dollars in revenue, thousands of jobs, and a legacy that started with nothing more than a fleck of mineral dust brought up by an insect. The lesson is clear. Fortunes are built not on brute force, but on the patient reading of nature's subtle signs. And the most valuable clues are often the ones everyone else ignores. But the story does not end there. In Australia, the Argyle mine is famous for its rare pink diamonds, and it owes part of its discovery to the careful analysis of termite mounds and the indicator minerals they contained. In North America, the anthill garnet phenomenon has guided geologists to kimberlite pipes in Utah, Wyoming, and beyond. In Canada's Northwest Territories, the Ikatai mine was found by tracing indicator minerals in glacial till, a method that follows the same principles as insect mound sampling. Even today, mining companies and independent prospectors use termite and ant mounds as low-cost, high-reward sampling stations, combining them with geophysical surveys and laboratory analysis to pinpoint hidden pipes. The science is evolving. Researchers are now using microbial DNA to map the invisible geochemical halos above kimberlite, adding a new layer of precision to the prospector's toolkit. But the core lesson remains unchanged. Nature's smallest engineers are the best guides to the Earth's deepest secrets. So how do you test your finds at home? Start with the scratch test. Use a steel file, Mohs 6.5, and a piece of quartz, Mohs 7, to check the hardness of your samples. Kimberlite is relatively soft, Mohs 3 to 6. Diamond is the hardest mineral on Earth, Mohs 10. It should scratch everything else. Use a streak plate to check mineral color, and use a strong magnet to separate ilmenite and magnetite. For specific gravity, weigh your sample in air and then in water, because kimberlite and indicator minerals are denser than average rocks. Some diamonds fluoresce blue under UV light, but this is not definitive. If you find a promising stone, consider sending it to a gemological lab for confirmation. And always keep detailed notes, because prospecting is a game of patience and precision. Let's bring it all together. The most shocking rock in this story is not a glittering diamond or a flawless gem. It is a weathered mound of dirt, ignored by everyone except the insects and the prospector, who knows what to look for. You now possess the knowledge of a pro on how to read the landscape, identify the right insects, sample the right mounds, and test your finds with scientific rigor. The final warning is this: the difference between a doorstop and a fortune is just knowledge. Nature hides her wealth in plain sight, but only for those who know how to see. So the next time you see a trail of ants or a termite mound, it could change your life forever.